Hello, and welcome back to another story reading of Better Our Friends by Elizabeth Uelberg. Still hoping I'm getting that name right. Anyway, I don't have anything to say this time, so let's just start reading chapters 5 and 6. Okay, let's start reading. Chapter 5. Having your two best friends date wasn't as awkward as I thought it would be. It was much, much worse. The first month was a little uncomfortable. I had to watch what I said about one when I was with the other. Then one of them would pump me for information. Sometimes I had to be the go-between. I was even the third wheel on a lot of the first dates. One time I went to get some popcorn before the start of the movie, only to discover them kissing, or more accurately, sucking face, when I got back. I froze, not knowing what to do. For a split second, I debated turning around and ramming my head against the wall in hopes that I would get amnesia. Instead, I cleared my throat very loudly and then they slowly peeled away. Thankfully, the lights dimmed down as I settled back in my seat, so I didn't have to make eye contact with either of them. I wasn't sure who should have been more embarrassed. By the time November rolled around, Levi and Emily were inseparable. They were constantly holding hands, and I swear I once saw them rubbing their noses together between classes. I tried desperately to not be bitter. It wasn't that I wanted a boyfriend, but I couldn't help feel a slight sting when they didn't want me around. Instead of being a necessity, I was a hindrance. I think that's how you say it. Anytime I asked one of them to do something, they already had plans with each other, and I wasn't included. That's sad. That really sucks. Yeah. Sometimes I even wish they would break up, but then I figured that would make things even worse. What if I was forced to pick sides? There was no way for me to get things back to normal, so instead I spent more time with Danielle. "They're going pretty serious, huh?" Danielle asked me as we waited in line to see a movie the week before winter break, just the two of us. Love watching movies at the movie theater. Yeah, I was also getting tired of having to be the happy couple spokesperson. Danielle hesitated a second. "Don't you think—" She looked around to make sure we didn't know anybody. "Don't you think Emily's kind of slipped away a bit? I mean, I know she wants to spend time with her boyfriend, duh, but she's never strayed this far from us. It's a bit much, you know." Yes, I did know, and times that by too for me. The only reason I still saw Levi on Wednesdays was that Emily had cheer practice. It is a little much. I only allowed myself to admit it to Danielle. Although, let's be honest. "You'll probably have to remind me of this conversation when I finally get a boyfriend," she said dryly. I tried to give her an understanding nod, although that just wasn't one of my priorities. Speak of the devils, I followed Daniel's gaze to the concession stand where Levi had his arm draped around Emily. She leaned into his side and laughed at something he was saying. I finally liked Levi. I really did, but he was not as funny as Emily always pretended he was. I groaned. "I do think they're seeing the same movie as us." Dread came over to me that I'd have to watch the Emily and Levi makeout hour instead of the new Pal Grohl romantic comedy. Daniel apparently read my mind. "Maybe we can sneak by them and sit toward the front." "Sounds good." We grabbed our tickets and headed toward the theater with our heads down. I felt my heartbeat pulsing quickly. "Hey guys!" "Oh, sir." "Hey guys!" I froze in my tracks upon hearing Emily's voice. For a split second I debated pretending to not hear her, but Daniel was already heading over. "Hey," Daniel said cheerfully. "What are you guys doing here?" I made a mental note to encourage Danielle to join the drama club. Emily laughed. "Seeing a movie, silly." "Really? You didn't come here solely for the popcorn?" Daniel shot back. "We're seeing the Salem Reckoning." Emily pretended to get chills down her spine. "Fortunately, I have this one to hold me tight." She beamed at Levi. In the many years I'd known Emily, she'd always refused to watch a horror movie. Even the cheesy, so bad it's funny kind. But I guess she'd use whatever excuse she could get for PDL, public displays of Levi. "Cool," Daniel said in a way that you could tell she found it the opposite of cool. "Well, I need to hit the little girl's room before I watch Paul Grohl be romantic and dashing for 90 minutes. "I'll join you." Emily grabbed Daniel by the arm and headed toward the restrooms. "Hey," Levi finally acknowledged my existence. "Hey, I decided not to act like it wasn't awkward. Listen, he began. I was thinking that maybe on Wednesday we could go grab a bite to eat and do some shopping. I totally need help picking out what to get my mom for Christmas. I let the icicles that were beginning to form around me melt a little. He was making an effort. He was also asking me to help him with his mom's gift because I knew her better. I knew him better. Maybe I was being a little harsh. I wasn't being replaced because that was really what I thought was happening. I was being foolish. Levi would never replace me. We'd solidified our plans by the time Emily and Daniel came back for the restroom. Ready? Emily grabbed Levi's hand. Yeah, Levi winked at me. Have fun. You too, I replied, and I meant it. Levi and Emily weren't the problem. My attitude was. Clearly, there was something wrong with me that I got threatened the second my two best friends didn't give me 100% of their attention. I knew right away that my New Year's resolution would be to stop being so needy. Once I gave myself an attitude adjustment, I began to smile whenever I saw Levi and Emily together. I remembered reading somewhere that if you smile at something, it automatically makes you happier. Sure. So whenever Levi or Emily would bring up the other, I'd smile. Soon it became an automatic response. Levi and I were walking around the mall, our hands full of shopping bags. So I was telling Emily, smile, that I still haven't gotten used to this weather. I know everybody said last winter was particularly brutal, but I think this year's even worse. Like negative degrees. How can it be so cold that the temperature doesn't even exist? Or like it's less than 0? How's that even possible? At least Emily has promised to keep me warm. Smile. I didn't know what else to do. I had to play a role, a happier version of myself who wanted to still spend time with me. Levi took my silence as an invitation to continue. Yeah, so I was also kind of hoping you could help me pick out something for Emily. Smile. Oh, awesome, Levi replied. Even though I didn't say anything, my stupid grin made it seem like I'd be more than happy to help him pick out a gift. Levi led me to a jewelry store. You're so cool. I didn't know if it would be weird to ask you, but who knows Emily better than you? He had a point. I didn't understand why I was freaking out over this. He was still the same Levi. It had only been a matter of time before one of us would start dating somebody, and in a way, this would stop people from thinking we were an item. Of course I'll help pick something, I conceded. What were you thinking? Well, I was here last week with my mom and saw this necklace and wanted to get your opinion. He led me over to a glass case full of different silver and gold necklaces. He pointed to one that was in the middle. This one, but with an E. My heart dropped when I saw which one he was referring to. It was a silver necklace with a small round pendant with the letter P engraved in it. I took a few steps back. It felt like the floor was unsteady. I heard Levi asking me if I was okay, but I couldn't concentrate. Everything around me was a blur. I couldn't hear what he was saying. I couldn't really do anything. I can't breathe. I need to. I stumbled out of the store and quickly sat on the floor near a fountain. I put my head between my knees and tried to steady my breath. Callum, what's wrong? Levi's voice cracked. Please talk to me. Sobs started to come out. I had trouble catching my breath. I needed to breathe. I needed to calm down and breathe. But I couldn't. Just when I thought I was getting better, something always knocked me on my side. And it was always when I least expected it. McCallum took out his phone. Mr. Jets, I'm with McCallum. I don't know what's going on. I think he's having some sort of panic attack. Not my father, I thought. Please don't bring up my dad into this. I somehow found the strength to reach out and touch Levi's leg. Wait, she's getting my attention. Levi kneeled down. Your dad wants to talk to you. Levi lifted the receiver to my ear. Kelly, sweetie, what is it? My father's voice was so worried. I hated that I was doing this to him. Please talk to me. I tried to calm myself down, but hearing Dad's voice made it worse. I took a deep breath. Tell him about the necklace. It was all I could get out, but enough for Dad to understand. I watched Levi listen to what Dad was telling him. His face went white. I'm so sorry, I didn't know. His voice was so low and quiet. I didn't know. I couldn't tell if he was apologizing to Dad or me. Probably both. Of course he didn't know. How could he have? How could he have known that my mom had worn a very similar necklace with the letter M that my dad gave her the day they brought me home from the hospital? How could he have known that she wore it every single day? How could he have known that she died wearing it? That she was buried with it? Levi hung up the phone and sat down next to me. He put his arm around me, and I leaned against his shoulder. Your dad is on his way. I'm so sorry, McCallum. I'm so sorry that I didn't know. I'm so sorry that I had to remind you of something so hurtful. I'm so sorry I didn't know how to help you with this big part of your life. If it's even possible, I'm so sorry that I don't know what to say right now. He paused for a second, but just having him there, having him near me, was what I needed. I know I've been a total idiot lately, and I haven't really been around, and I'm sorry for that too. I know I don't know a lot, but what I do know is that I'm going to be here. Whatever you need, whenever you need it. You know you can count on me, don't you? Nothing will ever change that. Nothing. You do know that, right? I don't think I truly knew it for sure until that very instant. And even though my heart was being ripped apart by the memory of my mother, I let Levi's kind gesture help patch it. I realized it was time for Levi to meet someone. We were bundled up as we made our way up the hill. Levi had been quiet on the ride over. I wasn't sure how he would react, but I knew it was time for me to open up to him. We approached our destination. Levi a few paces behind me, his head down. Levi, I'd like you to meet my mom. I stood next to her gray marble gravestone. Mom, this is Levi. I told you about him. I brushed off some of the snow that was on top of the stone. Snow! Hi, Levi said softly. Come sit. I took out a blanket and laid it on the cold ground. I wanted to bring you here so I could tell you a little about my mom. My voice started to quiver. This was what I'd been afraid of. It was really hard to talk about Mom without getting sad, but the therapist I saw about after she died said it was important for me to talk about her, to share my memories of her with other people. I wish Levi could have met my mom. She would have loved him. I began, but felt a sting behind my eyes. It's okay, Levi said. You don't have to if it's too hard. I want to. Can I start? He asked. Mr. Dietz, I'm Levi. I'm sure McCallum has told you all about me, and, well, none of it's true unless she told you I'm awesome. A small, grateful laugh escaped my throat. Yeah, I met her on the first day of school, and you should know how nice she was to me. I've seen pictures of you at the house, so I know where she got her looks. And, she's a ridiculous student. It's kind of annoying, really. He looked worried at me. Is this okay? I liked that he was having a conversation with his mom as if she were there. As if she were here. Yeah, it's great. Okay, so, when I first met her, I thought she hated me. You see, I had this long hair, and I'm pretty sure she thought I was a hippie or something. But then she found out that I also liked the show Buggy and Floyd. He looked up from the ground. Does she know what I'm talking about? I nodded. It made me happy that he used the present tense with Mom. Yeah, and from there, we just kind of clicked. She's really the only person who's gone out of her way to make me feel at home. So thank you, Mr. Dietz, for raising your daughter the way you did. She's awesome, and I know that's because of you. I wish I could have met you, but I guess I have in a way, because of McCallum. And just so you know, I'll do my best to protect her, and be there for her, even if she does have the worst taste in football teams. Hey, I swatted at him. Mom's a huge Packers fan. He's only teasing, Mom. He wrapped his gloved hand around mine. It's okay that I joked. Yes, she always jokes around. What else does she like? And that was all it took. For the next hour, I told Levi all about my mom. All I could remember. I laughed at so many of the memories, and not once did another tear fall. I still ached for her, but talking about her was keeping her alive inside of me. I had no doubt that Mom was looking down at us and smiling. Everything changed after that. Maybe change wasn't the best word, but Levi and I were closer than ever. Between my breakdown at the mall and the visit with Mom, Levi went above and beyond to make sure we spent time together. It wasn't as if Levi put Emily aside for me. He knew he didn't have to make that kind of a choice. He became more aware of how he was acting, the decisions he made, whom he chose to spend time with. Even though we constantly texted, he would call me at least once a day while he was in California during the holidays. I know how happy this is going to make you, Levi said during his call on New Year's Eve. everybody's here is complaining about how much I'm talking about back home. Do you think you have a case of the grass is always greener? I asked. He laughed. Probably, but mostly the guys want to see the more pictures of the coolest chick alive. You better be talking about me. Clearly, even if said chick is having a rocking party without me. Hey, I'm not the one who decided to spend the holidays 2,000 miles away, and the party isn't going to be rockin' with everybody's parents there. My dad had thought it would be fun to host a New Year's Eve party, so he invited some of his friends and their kids, and I got to invite my friends and their parents. At first I didn't think anybody would want to come to a party with their parents, but I guess it was the only way any of us would have been able to properly celebrate the ringing in of the new year. I had to hang up on Levi to get ready for our guests. Emily and Daniel came early to help me with the food. I made baked ziti, fettuccine alfredo with chicken, spaghetti with turkey meatballs, garlic bread, and chopped salad. Yum. Thankfully, the kids were relegated to the basement, so we got to have some privacy. I felt a little bad for Trisha and Ian, who were the kids of my dad's friends, since they didn't really know us. Trisha had moved from the Minneapolis. I know how to pronounce this in my head, I just can't say it, but Minneapolis, and Ian was a year older than us. When I'd heard he was coming, I immediately thought he'd be upset being stuck with young kids, but he came downstairs with a smile on his face and introduced himself to everybody. Trisha stayed in the corner watching TV with Emily's younger sister and Daniel's brother for the first hour or so. I wish Levi was here, Emily sulked. Now who am I going to kiss at midnight? Don't look at me, Daniel teased. I'm going to try to work my magic on that freshman. He's a hottie. I'll have to show him my winning personality. Daniel went over and sat down next to Ian. Ian. It looks like Ian because there's an I in front of it. It's Ian. You don't think Levi's going to be with a girl tonight? Emily asked me. No, he's hanging with his bros, I reassured her. I had to do that every day since Levi had left. I knew he could be trusted. He wasn't the cheating kind. What's up, guys? Troy came over with a plate full of chips. A plate? Okay, you put chips in plates, that's okay. Okay. Are we gonna break open any of these games or what? Emily smiled at him. Good idea. Games. She guided Troy over to the table where we had some old school board games set out. Board games are fun. Yep. Emily's sister grabbed checkers and brought them over to Daniel's brother on the other side of the room, where they set up shop. Ooh, they're too cool to hang out with their older siblings, Emily laughed. I remember being 5th grade and thinking I was da bomb. Troy looked up from the game of Monopoly he was examining. I don't know. I think you're da bomb now. Emily threw her head back and let out that exaggerated giggle she did around guys. Troy scratched his head, leaving his wavy brown hair sticking up in places. His smile was so big, I noticed for the first time that he had a dimple in his right cheek. But for some reason, I had a feeling it wasn't the first time Emily had noticed this. After all, he'd been our crush before Levi. Oh, you, Emily swatted at his hand. Then she nervously twisted up her long hair and let it fall back in place. She finally brought her attention back to me. Do you want to see if anybody else wants to join us, or? At first I thought she was trying to get rid of me, but then I realized I was being paranoid. Emily was inviting others to join them, which was something I should have been doing. In an effort to be a good hostess, I went over to the sectional where Daniel, Ian, Daniel, oh my god, how was it spelled like that? Daniel, Ian, and Trisha were sitting. Do you guys want to play a game or watch a movie? We still have 2 hours until midnight. Or I can get you some more food from upstairs. A movie would be cool, Trisha answered. Okay, you guys can pick it out. Daniel joined Trisha while she went through the movie selection. Ian got up. I think we'll grab us some more food. I just can't do many dude voices. No, without it being too exaggerated. Sorry. I'll sound the same. Same with the girls. I went upstairs with him. We heard the parents' laughter filling the living room. This actually sounds a lot like the parties I used to have, like New Year's parties, my family. Anyway. Sorry. I went upstairs with him. We heard the parents' laughter filling the living room. It seemed like they were having a more rocking time than we were. I can't believe you made all this food, Ian said when we got to the kitchen. He took another big helping of the ziti. It's so good. Thanks. I put some more garlic bread in the oven. I really like doing it. I can tell you this much. You aren't going to like the food in the cafeteria next year. I debated asking him more about high school, but I didn't want to seem so young. I guess I'll start packing my lunches then, was the only way I could think to respond. He took a big forkful of pasta. His dark hair fell in front of his eyes briefly before he whipped his head to the side. Yeah, if you need any advice on what classes to take next year or teachers to avoid, just ask. He smiled broadly at me, a speck of tomato sauce staining his upper lip. Thanks. I realized I wasn't adding much to the conversation. I had apparently forgotten how to talk to guys who weren't Levi. It wasn't that I never talked to guys. It was that I never felt compelled to make small talk solely for the sake of small talk. Ian helped me cut up the bread, and we brought some out to the adults, who were all busy having a debate over politics. Always happens. When we got back down to the basement, we found Danielle and Tisha watching 16 Candles. Oh, I need to see that movie. Sorry, I'm making all these note things. I'm just bored. I've never seen this movie before, Ian said as he plunked down on the couch next to me. It's a classic, Tisha told him. My mom was apparently obsessed with it when she was my age. I looked around the room. Where did Emily and Troy go? Daniel took a piece of garlic bread from Ian's plate. You didn't see them? They went upstairs to get something. Oh. We must have missed them when we were in the kitchen. The four of us sat back and watched 16 Candles with occasional commentary on the fashion and the hair. You should see this photo of my mom, Daniel laughed. She had like these tight ringlets in her hair, and like her bangs stuck up about a foot. She swears it was cool back then, but I don't know what planet that would be considered anything but a hot mess. At least some decent music came from that time, Ian offered. Yeah, I agreed as I shut off the movie. I glanced at the clock. We have 15 minutes till the new year. We turned on the TV to watch the ball drop at Times Square. I've never done that. Should. It was only 2 years ago that I realized they delayed the feed from New York an hour for the Central Time Zone. Before then, I thought they redid the ball drop for every time soon. So, I thought that was the coolest to get to celebrate New Year's 4 times. Okay, seriously, where are Emily and Troy? Okay, seriously, where are Emily and Troy? Daniel asked. I'd almost forgotten about them. They probably got caught up in the grown-up talk. I'll go save them. I went upstairs and didn't see them in the kitchen or the living room. I checked the powder room and they weren't there. I went upstairs and saw that my bedroom door was closed. Never did it dawn on me that I should have knocked. Why would I have ever knocked on my own door? Yeah, it's kind of rude to, go into someone's room. Of course I'm not gonna knock. Okay. Hey, are you guys... I froze at what I saw. Emily and Troy were kissing on my bed. Okay, that's ruined your bed for her now. Yep. They both bolted upright. Oh, hey, Emily bit her lip, probably trying to think of a lie that I'd believe. And I just desperately wanted to hear something that would make me think I hadn't just risked my best friend cheating on my other best friend. Troy said the smartest thing he could at the time like this. I'm gonna head downstairs. Emily and I were silent after he left. Only the sound of laughter from the oblivious adults could be heard. Emily finally spoke. I know. You know? I was stupid. It's New Year's Eve. I'm at a party. Is it so wrong that I wanted to have some fun? She sank back onto my bed and put her head in her hands. You can't tell Levi. I couldn't think of a response. I was so shocked at how quickly the evening had changed. She finally looked at me. Can you please say something? Anything? I was afraid to open my mouth because I had no idea what would come out. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. How could you? Emily shook her head. I don't know. I used to like Troy, and we were flirting while we were playing, and I think he's cute. I used to like him. You have a boyfriend, and I need to remind you that he's my best friend. I thought I was your best friend. You both are. But in that instant, I certainly felt closer to Levi. Levi's great, but he's not here. Emily sank back on my bed, her feet dangling toward the floor. It was a position we'd both been in often. A physical position. This awkward emotional position I was currently in was a first, and not one I care to repeat. So that makes it okay. No, it doesn't. I was relieved that this was her answer. I'm confused, that's all. About what? Everything. She started to tear. I'm getting freaked out over next year. I don't think you realize how much things will change. Everything is going to change. It already has. I sat down next to her so we were both staring up at the glow in the dark stars on my ceiling. Emily, you gotta let this go. You're not your sister. You know what happened with her. You saw. Cassie had all these friends when she was our age. Then she went to that big school and got lost. She'd come straight home from freshman year and go into her bedroom and to cry. But your sister is a lot quieter than you are. You're more outgoing. You'd never be lost. And you have me. I wanted to add that trying to date the entire male population at our school at the same time wasn't going to make things better for her. But I knew this wasn't the time. What she needed was reassurance. Not everything is going to change. Our group will be broken up. I used to be your only best friend, and I don't think it hasn't hurt me that you've been spending more time with Levi. I couldn't believe she was trying to turn this on me. Yes, I spend a lot of time with Levi, but she was the one who canceled plans with me to spend more time with him. And I get worried for you, McCallan. I do. Levi's great. But when he gets to high school, do you think he's going to be fine hanging out only with you? He's going to have all these friends, and I don't want you to be left alone. I didn't think I was going to be left alone. My throat tightened. I thought you were my best friend, too. I turned my head in time to see her cringe. I am your best friend, but sometimes I question where your loyalty lies. I stayed motionless on my bed, repeating Emily's words in my head. This was an impossible situation. Was she really asking me to make an even more impossible choice? A knot began forming in my stomach. Could I really choose between the two? I'd known Emily for as long as I could remember. She was always happy to lend a hand when I needed girly advice. She had been there for me during the absolute worst time in my life. Maybe Emily was right. Maybe I had been neglecting her since Levi had come to town. But did that make what she was asking me okay? Levi and his family had meant the world to me the past 18 months. I couldn't imagine my life without him. But I felt the same way about Emily. Why was this landing all on me? This wasn't exactly the situation I'd been worried about when they'd started dating. What would happen after they broke up? I tried to keep my voice steady. Are you giving me an ultimatum? Whatever. That I need to be loyal to you? I don't know what I'm saying. Emily sat up. I'm obviously really confused. I'm so sorry. I feel horrible. I don't want to come between you and Levi, and I don't want Levi to come between us. Yeah, I thought. Year 1 kissing session, too late on that one. Just then, I heard everybody downstairs counting down, while they happily rang in the new year. I was trying to figure out how to salvage the two most important relationships in my life. A Happy New Year! Chorus erupted below. Hey! Emily hugged me as I got up. Happy New Year, McCallan. Can we make a fresh start? I promised to figure out what to say to Levi. I don't want you to worry about it. It's my problem, not yours. All I could do was hope she was right. Emily got up off the bed and clapped her hands. Come on, McCallan. It's the new year. A new start. A new beginning. Anything's possible. I felt a sense of dread envelop me. Because everything was possible. But those last 10 minutes had made me realize that maybe that wasn't a good thing. New beginnings are overrated. I know. I'll never understand why everybody puts so much emphasis on January 1st. There are 364 other days in the year that you can make a change. Or make a fresh start. Or start a diet. You're not allowed to start cooking with low-fat ingredients. Obviously. Oh yeah. Or, hide something from me ever again. Well, you're never allowed to leave the state of Wisconsin again. Yep, that totally seems fair. I can only control so much. If only you could be in charge of the world. Finally, someone gets it. I should be in charge of the world. Wouldn't life be so much better? Obviously. First law as queen of the world. Banishment of the Chicago Bears. On second thought, Hey, it's my world. I get to rule as I see fit. What if I made it so you'd be the standard against which all guys are judged? Like you don't already do that. Right. Question. How many suns are there in your world? Sorry if this dialogue wasn't so well. Oh well. Um, well, my throat is hurting now, and I'm gonna have to do the next chapter later. They're really long, and it's late. But yeah, sorry if I commented a lot in that. Just be aware of that if you don't like that. I'm sorry. You don't have to watch, you don't have to hear, you don't have to listen to this. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you the next chapter in a few seconds, I guess, but I'm not recording it now, so bye, I guess. Hello, and welcome back to another story reading of Better Off Friends by Elizabeth Eilberg. I think that's how you pronounce the last name. I meant to do chapters 5 and 6, but it turned out chapter 5 was really long, and it took me like half an hour to read, so I don't know if you really want to listen to an hour recording. Doesn't sound very nice. But, so I'm just doing chapter 6, this is separate, and then hopefully most of the chapters will be in pairs once more. So, let's just get into chapter 6, and I hope it won't be too long this time. Okay, let's start reading. Chapter 6. I practically ran off the plane the second we touched down in Milwaukee. I don't know how to say that. It was funny. I'd spent the last 18 months wishing to be in California, but once I got there, I realized all I'd left behind in Wisconsin. What? Sure, it was cool to get to hang out with my old buddies, but I missed my girls, Callan and Emily. I guess most guys would have thought I was a player since I had 2 girls, but they meant completely opposite things to me. Callan was kind of my better half, the yin to my yang. That sounded way dirtier than it meant to. And Emily was an awesome girlfriend. She radiated the positive energy. I could tell she was always happy to be around me. What guy wouldn't want that? Although I have a confession to make. I lied to Emily over the break. I told her I wasn't getting back until Saturday evening when it was in fact my flight arrived in the afternoon. I only did it because I wanted to see McCallan first. I knew Emily would want to see me right away, but I still owed McCallan her present. I had a stupid grin on my face when I rang the doorbell at the Dietz's house. Hey! I picked up McCallan in a tight group when I saw her. Hey back, she laughed as I put her down. How was the culture shock? I walked into the foyer and started taking off my many layers. It was more the shock of getting off the plane just now and being hit with the cold air. I was wearing flip-flops on New Year's Eve. McCallan went slightly. Everything okay? She shook her head a little too vigorously. Yeah. It's only that, it's strange to think of celebrating the holidays in the heat. Mom used to get so mad if there wasn't snow on the ground at Christmas. Oh, I do too. Never snows here. Anyway. McCallan's odd behavior was now making sense. I knew how much her mom loved the holidays, so this time of year must have been particularly hard on her, which probably also explained the mess in the kitchen. There were pots and pans everywhere. McCallan cooked a lot when she was trying to clear her mind, or trying to distract herself from something. And with us being on winter break, she didn't have homework to fill that void. I rubbed her arm, thinking it would be the best way to comfort her. Ever since we'd gone to the cemetery, I knew it was okay for me to bring up her mom. I was so honored when she took me. It cemented how important our relationship was, but I also knew that if she wanted to talk about it with me, she would. It was getting to the point that I could read McCallan pretty well. I knew when she needed to be prodded into saying something, and when she needed to be left alone. And the look on her face screamed, "Leave it alone." Well, I'm used to the good weather year-round, I reminded her. And I'm sorry I asked you to lie to Emily when I was coming back. Yeah. She started to clean up the counter. Do you want something to eat? I'd never passed an opportunity to eat anything she made. McCallan put together a plate of fudge brownies, yum-yum, Rice Krispie treats, and a slice of pecan pie. Oh. I reached into my bag and pulled out her present. Merry Christmas, a week late. She hesitated before she opened it. It's not a bear's hat, is it? I laughed. She'd given me a Green Bay Packers knit hat to help me fit in. Everybody had gotten a big kick out of that, especially Adam. But after all the ribbing, she'd also given me a coupon for a homemade meal of my choice. It was my favorite gift that year. She started unwrapping the box. She began laughing the second she saw one of the pictures on the DVD case. I can't believe you got me. She stopped herself as she saw the inscription on the front. How did you... Her mouth was practically on the floor. This made me extremely happy. My buddy's dad knew the producer on the show. I called in a favor. She stared down and then read the inscription on the Buggy and Floyd DVD from the actor who played Buggy. Blimey, if I don't fancy me a glass of Macallan. Oh, that's awesome. I couldn't figure out if it was genius or dirty, I confessed. Genius! Macallan started laughing. I left it when she laughed. She had two kinds of laughter. One was a normal chuckle, while the other was a boisterous, flailing black laughter. Yeah. If I had only one goal in life, it would be to make her laugh loudly every day. And that day, my mission had been accomplished. This is the greatest. Thank you. She flung her arms around me. You can have as many meals as you want, whenever. I like that in writing, please. Her head fell back again as she laughed, and I kid you not, my heart actually soared. So, I started playing with her, which changed color depending on the season, like a tree. It was currently dark brown with a red overtone. Tell me everything. How was New Year's? The smile quickly vanished from her face. I should have known better to keep bringing up something that reminded her of her mom. It was good, she said. When are you seeing Emily? I checked the clock. I told her my flight got in right about now, so I should call her soon. Yeah, you should call her. I know she really wants to see you. This is why Macallan was the greatest friend in the world. I hadn't seen her in 10 days, yet she wanted to be sure I saw my girlfriend. I don't know why I, said saw weirdly, whatever. Do you want to come with me to see her? I wasn't ready to say goodbye to Macallan just yet. She shook her head. No, you guys should have some time alone. Come here. I gave her a huge hug. You're the best. You know that, right? She gave me a meek smile. I didn't want to leave, because there was clearly something wrong. But maybe what she needed was some time alone. She was trying to get me out of the room fast enough. So are you. Her eyes were so sad. While I walked the 7 blocks to Emily's house, I couldn't get Macallan out of my mind. My best friend needed me, and I was going to figure out what to do to help her. But first, I had to see my awesome girlfriend. Levi! That was weird. Emily screamed before I even had a chance to get to the door. She ran out in the cold and kissed me, which helped warm me considerably. You didn't call me when you landed. I was getting worried. She held my hand and led me inside. I'd been so preoccupied with Macallan that I'd forgotten to even warn Emily that I was coming. I had to drop something off at Macallan's first, I said. I didn't want to lie to Emily anymore. Oh, you saw Macallan? She smiled widely. What did you guys talk about? I shrugged. Just the usual. Plus, I still needed to give her the Christmas present. I still needed to give her the Christmas present. Oh, right, that DVD thing? She led me to the couch and asked me all about my time in California. She hardly let me ask her anything about what she'd done over break. It wasn't like she hadn't texted while I'd been away, but she kept wanting to know every detail about my trip. Hey, how was that New Year's Eve party at Macallan's? I finally managed to ask. Why? She fired back quickly. Only curious. Macallan didn't say much. Oh. Emily looked relieved. It was great. A really good time. She bit her lip. There's something I should probably tell you. It's totally not a big deal. You know, Troy was there and whatever. I was giving him the tour of the house, and we were in Callan's room. I guess the door was closed. I felt a tightness start to form in my chest. Anyway, we were talking, and it was getting late, and we were lying on the bed talking, and Macallan walked in. It obviously startled us, but Macallan thought we were doing something. But it was all innocent, I swear. I just missed you so much. I didn't know what to say, mostly because I couldn't believe Macallan had tipped me off, even if it was nothing. But it's a new year, a new start. Emily leaned in and was only inches away from me. I shouldn't have talked to Troy, given him a tour, but I don't know. I wasn't even going to tell you, but I didn't want to keep anything from you. She started rubbing my leg. Forgive me? She started to kiss me. At first I hesitated. Not because Emily was a bad kisser, but there was so much information to process. But I gave in. If it were a big deal, Macallan would have said something. There was no way she would have seen Emily cheating and not tell me. I thought I could trust Emily, but I knew for certain I could trust Macallan. You know that you don't need to say a single thing to make me feel... You know you don't need to say a single thing to make me feel bad about that. I know. But you're going to anyway, right? Nope. No. Oh, McKellen, one of us has to be the bigger person about such things. You've got to be kidding. Since when are you the bigger person about anything? Since I forgave you for your betrayal? You're right. Wow, did that actually work? I'm right about something? It's a Christmas miracle. You're pretty proud of yourself, aren't you? Well, it is nice to be right about something for once. Don't get used to it. Oh, I won't. You know I won't. Well, since this chapter's only like 9 minutes, I guess I'll just add this to it. You'll see that it'll be with it. It'll just be like 40 minutes long. Anyway, that's for the chapters today. I'm back next time to hear some more. Bye-bye.